Field Yates on who he has the Browns taking in his latest mock draft.
The Cleveland Browns are taking Abdul Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State. And let me just again explain my analysis and my thoughts behind this pick here. A lot of people have said, all right, the Browns, like the Titans, might need to take a quarterback this year, right? Deshaun Watson is maybe going to probably going to miss the entirety of next season. On top of that, he's no longer a good quarterback. On top of that, it's the worst contract maybe in the history of the NFL, maybe even all sports. It's awful, no matter what way you view this quarterback situation in Cleveland. Here is the reason why I did not go with a quarterback here, though, is I feel there is a two-man tier at the top of the board where these players are so good and offer so much upside at their respective jobs. In the case of Travis Hunter, it's 2 jobs. In the case of Abdul Carter, you could also say it's 2 jobs because he was an inside linebacker who kicked down to an edge rusher for Penn State. That they're so good at those 2 jobs that you can make the credible case to bypass a quarterback, which, as we know, if a quarterback hits, it's way more valuable than any other position in all the sports. But these guys are so gifted that they had to go 1-2 in some order. In this mock draft, for me, if the Browns do end up changing their stance and trading Myles Garrett, there's no perfect replacement for Myles Garrett. He might be the best defensive player on the planet, but is in this draft class, there's no question the best pass rusher is Abdul Carter. To me, I made it a layup call. The Browns go Abdul Carter at 2.
Tim, I would argue even if Myles Garrett stays, then you have dominant bookends, which you've been trying to get forever. If you view Abdul Carter as that good, you take him at number 2 unless you think that quarterback can start the next 10 years for you.
Yeah, and I pretty much believe they can. I do have that belief in Shedeur Sanders, maybe more so than Cam Ward, because I tweeted about it earlier today. I feel like Cam Ward maybe needs to be coached a specific way to really channel his game, to be a guy who you don't coach the hero ball out of him, but you kind of harness it properly. But when it comes to Abdul Carter, there's no question he's a high-end talent in this class. Same with Travis Hunter, the dual-threat superstar from Colorado. They're both the 2 most talented players in this draft class. The only way I feel like if you're the Browns where it makes sense to draft one of those guys for me is if you don't believe whichever quarterback is there is going to be a very good starter at the minimum. Because, like I said, the Browns had the worst quarterback play in 2024 in all of football, right? In all of football, you basically have no quarterbacks on the depth chart. If you move on from DTR in particular, going into 2025, and you're in an AFC that features Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, you got to compete. And this was a historically bad quarterback group and a historically bad offense. And the reason for that, the quarterback play was not very good. And I know people are going to say that this is a weak quarterback class. It's weak in the sense that there's not. To me, it's weak in the sense that there's not as much depth at the top as 2024. I feel like Shedeur and Cam Ward are going to be the only 2 guys that deserve to go in the first round, deserve to go in the top 10. And if you're the Browns, I think where you have to stand is the quarterback there. Do we think that's a guy to be a franchise quarterback? And if it's yes, you take him without hesitation. If there's any significant hesitation, or you're just not convinced at all, then you take Abdul Carter and then you see if you can find a gem down the road. But bottom line, you still got to address that position, and I don't think you can let Myles Garrett's trade request affect what you do at number 2. I don't think you could just draft his replacement just because you want to trade. Even then, you might not be able to trade him until after June 1st because of his contract situation.